Hello and welcome to a new episode of Josh's Car Corner. This is going to be a one-shot, one-take episode that I'm going to quickly shoot in the garage while I'm getting ready to take the GTO down to Indianapolis for this year's Outback in the Midwest event. So I've got a lot of little things that I want to tell everybody about, and I thought it'd just be easier to put them all into one video. So I'm going to start by turning the camera around here. So as you can see, the garage right now, you can see the crewman is back here. Now you've probably been able to deduce that because the crewman is back here, that means it now can move. And it can. It runs. You saw that in the last episode of Project Crewman. It also drives. I have driven it around my neighborhood a few times now. It's starting to sound a lot better. The transmission shifts really well. Tap shift does work when I'm on the road, which is excellent. The only issue left is the speedometer does not work. I either can switch it to a configuration where it reports an inaccurate number or it doesn't work at all. So I and a guy from Australia are still trying to figure that out. So I'm hoping we get the speedo figured out and maybe by October it'll be ready to go to a car event. Not gonna make Outback, still doesn't have registration, and as you can tell, still needs the body put back on. So let's get back to the GTO here. So, you know that I put the big Brembo brakes on it. There was an episode on that. And earlier, before I did the brakes, I did the tab kit to repair the front bumper. There have been a couple other things that I've done, and you might be able to see the first one right here by seeing the piping in the window, but I now have Brom racing seats. I cannot remember what model of racing seats these are. I just remember that they are the R series. So they're good for a 5-point harness. A friend of mine, James, did these in his GTO when I lived down in Arizona, and I thought they were pretty comfy. But the difference is he used their mounting brackets, and what I did is I used factory Holden mounting brackets from a Ute. These are manual brackets. You can even see the little seat handle thing right here. And the reason I wanted to use that is because it means I could use the factory trim pieces to cover up the seat frame, or a majority of it. So I was able to reattach the factory seat belt buckle with the pre-tensioner because I used the factory frames. And now I've got these kick-ass seats, and I've driven around in them a little bit. They're pretty comfortable. I like them a lot, and I think they're going to be good for a road trip. And they'll be great when I finally start going back to Road America. So another thing is I had to make a repair. My fuel gauge quit working back in the spring, and it wasn't reading anything at all. After taking the tank back out for God knows how many times, I figured out it was actually here at the ECU connector. So there is one pin in here that is the ground source for the fuel tank pressure sensor and the fuel level sensor. And Project E38 has done its number on these connectors because there's little black retainer fingers in these connectors to hold the pins that you insert, and the plastic retainer finger for that pin was broken, and the pin had pushed back out of the connector and it wasn't making contact with the ECU pin. So I figured that out. I pushed it back in temporarily just so I could have a fuel gauge for this weekend. So that's done, but I'm going to eventually have to get a new connector and repin this whole thing again so I don't have to worry about that coming out again. The last thing I will show you here is that I installed a line lock because for years when I've done burnouts when I go drag racing, I've just rode the brakes. But now I have these monsters back here. I can't be doing that anymore, or I'm just gonna stall the motor or I'm gonna break something. So I got this kit from Texas Speed. I'm not gonna say who makes it. It's a pretty decent kit, really nice solenoid. These lines were pre-bent to shape, and you only have to run one electrical wire into the car to make this thing work. However, the way the kit works is they want you to install this gaudy button somewhere in the car. And look how big this thing is. You have to drill a massive hole somewhere in your trim to install this. I'm not going to be doing that. I like my car too much, so forget that. I came up with a better solution. Get another center console switch, just like the traction control switch. Any switch will do. I had a spare ESP switch from all of my Holden Australia stuff. So I also had the wiring for the connector, which is pretty much the same as that wiring right there. So I just wired this in to the controls. Now it's got a two-stage system. So right here is the master on-off switch. So the key has to be on for this to work. So you turn it on, and now when you flip this up, now the switch itself has power. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but you can see in here that when it's on, it's always glowing. So that lets me know that it's on, and if I push it, listen, it engages the solenoid. So now when I want to do a burnout at the drag strip, I can just turn off traction control and immediately go over here and hold this button down. It's stealthily installed, and you never know it's there, and it's going to be great for doing burnouts in the car. Now I'm eventually going to get a different top part here that's got like a brake symbol on it, so I can show it off as a line lock. I haven't got that yet, so for now this will work, but that is a nice stealth install, and I'm really glad I did it that way rather than drilling some massive hole inside the car. Now the reason that I am not mentioning the manufacturer of this line lock is a very good one. So I'm going to be honest with you. Anytime I put something on the GTO and I get a product from a company, I usually reach out to them and ask me if they would offer me some kind of a discount, small or otherwise, just to give them a little bit of promotion for doing a how-to video to install their product. And some people say yes, some people say no. In this case, I would have bought the line lock anyway because I'd read reviews and it's a good kit. However, the guy who makes the kit referred to me as an influencer. And that really rubbed me the wrong way for a couple of reasons. One, I am not a 25-year-old Gen Zer trying to make a living on Twitter. And two, it means he didn't even try to watch an episode of the show to see what I do. The only thing I have tried to influence people to do with Josh's Car Corner is to work on their own cars and to have the confidence to do so. And on that note, tomorrow will officially be the 15th anniversary of the first episode of Josh's Car Corner that I ever uploaded to YouTube, when I did a review on this car, the GTO. As that result of that, and the guy calling me an influencer, I made another pretty big decision. Long time ago, probably 10 years ago or so, I started doing ad monetization on the videos because I wasn't making a ton of money and I wanted to get some better recording equipment, and I thought if I turned on the ads it could help me generate a little extra revenue, so I could do that. Well, here we are in 2025 and I got a pretty good job, plenty of money and good equipment now. So I made the decision that because I don't want to be referred to as an influencer, I have turned off all ads and monetization for every video on Josh's Car Corner, and from now on there will be no more ads put by me on any of my videos. So if you see an ad on a Josh's Car Corner episode now, YouTube did it, it's not me. And the other thing I'm going to mention is at some point this year I hit 6,000 subscribers, which blows my mind because it was a few years ago I hit 5,000 subscribers, and I kind of never thought it would go beyond that. But here I am at 6, people are still watching, and here I am 15 years later, still playing with Holdens. And I'm going to continue to play with Holdens for quite a long time. Still got plenty of things to do to that one. I still have plenty of things to do to this one. So there will be plenty more episodes to come in the remaining weeks, months, and years of this decade for sure. So you will see much more content coming from me on how to work on these cars, and I'm going to be anxious to get it out there for you guys to see. I'm going to get packed up now so I can head down to my buddy Joe's. That's going to also be very exciting to me because this is also right around the time that I met him 20 years ago and we became friends. And we have had some fantastic memories going on road trips together. And this is just going to be another classic road trip that we go on with some great memories. So really looking forward to that. If you're a fan of mine and you're going to be going to Outback, come up and say hi. Love to meet people. And I will see you there. That's going to do it for this little brief one-shot, one-take. Thanks for watching Josh's Car Corner for 15 years. And I will continue to make shows. I can't promise it's going to be for another 15, but it will be for a few more for sure. See you later.